And welcome back to Unrelegated. We've got a exciting episode, I think. We've had a lot of transfer rumors the last week, and so we're going to dig into those, and that's primarily what this episode is going to be about. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to start off with some of the maybe less exciting transfer rumors or ones we've already maybe heard about or talked about. Let's get started with the center backs that we've been hearing about. So number one, Junior Alonzo, Paraguayan, left-footed center back. I believe we talked about him in the last episode. He's 33 years old, just finished up with Club Atletico Mineiro in Brazil. And he is currently playing for Paraguay in the World Cup. Did not have an inspiring performance against the U.S. men's national team, has performed better since then, and has been primarily played as a traditional left back in their system. But he is a left-footed center back, typically for his club was playing as a center back on the left side. So I'm guessing that's what we're going to see him come in as in Tata's system. And, he is, a experienced center back, but I would be surprised if Atlanta United paid an exorbitant amount of money for him. I would be concerned if we were paying, this guy like $1 million plus to come in and play. I think that we're starting to see a trend here with these rumors for these more, ball playing center backs. I think these are probably center backs that are going to fit better into Tata's system than the guys we have right now. I think that looking forward, we may even be seeing guys that are being brought in that could potentially play in a 3 center back system, or a 5-3-2. We know how that worked out when Tata tried to switch up that system in the U.S. Open Cup in the middle of it. Not great, but it doesn't mean that with the right pieces, he can't try to start training in that tactical system again. We know that it's a system that he likes. He played it, in the playoffs when he was with Atlanta United the first time around. So, we'll see what happens. But, not super excited about that transfer. And that was one of the first ones to come out. But then we have this other guy, Paulo Diaz, Chilean. And I think he actually might be now a naturalized Argentine, but don't quote me on that. But he, another River Plate guy. We love our River Plate signings. They love us because we pay an exorbitant amount of money typically for them. But the good news is he was bought out by River Plate for around $3 million. He was on a pretty hefty contract. And River Plate is unloading a bunch of players, and he is one of them. Now, I started to get a little tingly sensation when I started watching this guy play. Now, some of the River Plate fans, I think were frustrated with him a little bit. It reminded me a lot when I watched footage of him of LGP. The shorter version. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10". So shorter LGP. But the guy is aggressive. He is not a traditional center back, or at least wasn't playing like that for River Plate. The guy loves to get into the box. He loves to make crosses. He loves to initiate the attack with long balls and switches across the pitch. He tries things. He's fun to watch. Now, there could be an argument to say, we don't need a guy that's fun to watch. We need a guy that's really good at defending. But he throws his body around. He gets airtime for his height. He's not terrible in the air either. So the guy has quality, and I think he'd probably be the highest quality center back that Atlanta United have brought in for quite some time. So I'm a little more excited about this guy. He's definitely going to be like a max TAM signing. I think he's going to be in that $1.5 to $1.8 million range, which means that, well, what does that mean? It means that we're going to see pieces moving out, right? In order to bring these guys in, let's say you're bringing in Paulo Diaz for like 1.8 million. You're bringing in Junior Alonzo for 500, 600,000. Just pure speculation here. Okay, you're already up to like what, 2.3 million, somewhere around there. So you got to make room. And the only way to make room is to get rid of other high salary guys like Steven Azalte, right? He's got to go, guys. He's got to go. Even saw this weird rumor online. Granted, it was from like a parody account in England. This guy said he saw Steven Azalte shopping around in England this past week. And then, we have to get into the discussion about Koke. That's right, guys. Koke from Atletico Madrid. Number 6. Ball progression. Excellent midfielder. I'm finally excited about a transfer rumor. We're finally getting transfer rumors that are not from like these, 70 follower accounts. We're getting big name transfer rumors. And it was confirmed by Doug, according to his sources, Doug Robertson, that there is a mutual interest. I like that word, mutual. So, this isn't just apparently a one-sided thing where we're reaching out to him. He's somewhat interested, apparently. So that has got me quite excited. And we deserve that. With all these, I talked about this last episode, these huge signings that are coming in for Orlando, Inter Miami, and now Chicago, with Lewandowski just announced that he's coming over on a free transfer to Chicago. These huge names that are being run about. The day and age of this rule from the early years with Atlanta United and this, initially value-based types of signings that Garth wanted to pursue initially before he threw out his philosophy out the window, which I also talked about previously. This idea that we can't bring in these older or aging stars, we have to move beyond that. Okay, we're look at these teams that are above us in the table. They have no problem bringing in some of these guys that are quote unquote aging stars to supplement their team, and we need anything we can get. I don't care what the strategy is at this point. This whole idea of like, oh, I'd rather we just keep missing on these young signings and I never want to bring in an old. Forget that. The only rule should be to stop sucking, to stop being terrible. And if that means bringing in a 34-year-old Koke, we know that sports science has changed drastically. Look at what I've read articles about, Lionel Messi and the things he does to keep his body fit and working with the sports science team and in Miami and Argentina. And you see the same thing with Suarez. And then you see, guys like Modric in the World Cup. He's 40 years old and the guy's running around playing defense, intercepting the ball. The guy may not be, the Modric of old, but at the same time, he's still running around the pitch like a madman, making interceptions, tackles, defensive efforts at 40 years old. Okay. So could we bring in a 34-year-old who's just recently played in the Champions League semifinal against Arsenal, bossed around the midfield, who's beloved by Atletico Madrid fans who are still asking him to stay, for another year? Yes, bring him in. I could already see all the merchandise, the Koke/Coca-Cola memes. The guy would blow up in Atlanta. He'd be the face of the club. The guy was captain of the club for like the last 6 or 7 years. He spent his entire professional career there at Atletico Madrid. This is a guy that said that he wanted to retire there, and now he's actually thinking about coming to Major League Soccer, to Atlanta United. Go get him. We can't sit here and complain about the team being terrible and about our cynicism of thinking that nothing's going to happen this summer transfer window. And then we finally get a concrete, rumor about this guy coming in. how could you be upset? You should be ecstatic. We have to give credit where credit is due. If we're starting to see language, heck, even if he doesn't make it over to Atlanta, let's say he doesn't agree to come to Atlanta, the sheer fact that we're going for these types of pieces is huge to me. Now, I think I'm in the minority. I've been wanting a DP number 6 for years. And I know that a lot of people think, oh, we need to save our DP slots for attacking pieces. Look at how the team has played since we lost Nagbe, a true ball progressing maestro in midfield. Okay. Eric Remedi was great. I mean, but he was a destroyer. He wasn't this ball progressing guy like Nagbe was. We haven't had a true spine, a true balanced midfield in forever. This guy is a true leader, right? He's going to change the locker room, the vibes in the locker room immediately. You think he's going to walk in there and accept mediocrity? We know there's problems in the locker room right now. I've talked to people that have sources. It's dire. Look at the interview with Miranchuk, with the Russian outlet. He talked about the fact that the players feel like they're in a warm bath. There's no pressure. There was an interview where Jay Fortune, or was it Sanchez? One of the guys said that he was jealous of other teams and how cohesive they were when they saw them with each other on the pitch and their vibes, and he was jealous of that. That's a problem. We need a guy to come in with the leadership skills of Koke. This guy seems like he's not going to take any bullshit. I like this. Over like 740 appearances for Atletico Madrid. I think he had like over 70 caps with Spain. This is huge. This would be huge for Atlanta United. I hope everybody's excited as I am. I hope that you can take the time to enjoy this, that the cynicism and the hopelessness hasn't completely eroded your trust to the point where you're afraid to even accept this as a possibility and enjoy the moment, because that would be really unfortunate. I think that would be really unfortunate. I think this is a time to start to get excited a little bit about the potential summer transfer window. Even if you take the names out of it, just the sheer fact we're seeing talks of transfers, okay, is a good thing. There are tons of Major League Soccer teams right now that are getting no buzz right now in terms of transfer talk either. We talk about Chicago and Inter Miami and Orlando, and even Columbus has pieces moving in and out. But really, all the other teams, I haven't seen anything about them right now. So very excited about the potential Koke move. I think he'll probably play as a number 6. I don't really see how he and Muyumba could be on the pitch at the same time. I'd really like to see what the type of leadership and crazy ball progression skills and the ability to tie things together in the midfield does, and how it helps elevate the game of players like Jay Fortune and Cooper Sanchez. I really would love to see that. And I know some argue with his skill, even with his age, with his skill set coming into Major League Soccer, maybe we see him play as number 8. But do you really want him playing as number 8, and then Muyumba is sitting behind him and still doing the things that he does? I don't think so. I think we see him as a number 6. I really do. And again, I said I've been wanting to see a DP level number 6 for some time. I never thought it would happen, because you just don't see MLS teams, acquire DP level defensive midfielders. But then again, you see some MLS teams even, bring in DP level center backs now. So, this shouldn't be all that shocking. And I welcome it. We need a huge vibe check. And there is this X factor, this off the pitch factor of bringing in talent of that level who also have the leadership skills. Mirachuk's doing okay, but I don't think he's a natural leader. The guy was like a number 10 in the Serie A sense of it. We don't really have a natural number 10 in Tata's system. It's more, attacking number 8s, a number 9, false 9. It's he just doesn't have that natural leadership skill. I think he's been doing okay filling in for that space. I love his commitment in the interview with the Russian outlet, that he said that if he was approached by a team in Russia or elsewhere, that he still would not agree to leave, that he wants to stay and see out the vision or the plan with Atlanta United. He's saying all the right things, but it's a different level when you got a guy like Koke and his level that comes in. It just changes the air immediately. And this is something that the team has been missing, I think, for a long time, is that lack of leadership. Where's that Jeff Lorenowitz energy, or Parkhurst, or even Guzan when he was there. I felt like, we had some of that veteran leadership in the team, and it's just not there anymore. And hey, who knows? Is Diaz an Asador? Is he an Asador? Is he a grill master? Because if he's this LGP-like guy, character-wise, because he looks like he's also a pretty intense character, that he is going to put everything into his play on the pitch and off the pitch. I think, hey, someone find out if he's an Asador, because I think that's also what we're missing. Remember when LGP would grill all the meats and everybody would come over and there'd be Instagram stories of all the guys getting together over at his house or whoever's, and they're all having a good time grilling some quality meat, by a charismatic Argentinian. Maybe we get that, except with Chilean guy, Paulo Diaz, But I think he's naturalized as an Argentinian citizen. So that would be really cool to see as well. We need more of that energy. So that brings me to the Robert Lewandowski transfer news. He is officially coming to Chicago Fire. And now, why am I talking about that? Well, I'm talking about that because that means Hugo Kuipers, the current, leading striker for Chicago, he's currently taking up one of their 3 DP slots. So what's going to happen with him? He's already reportedly getting interest from other MLS teams. Is Atlanta United one of those teams? There's no credible links, but they're saying there are MLS teams interested and that have been showing interest in him, knowing about Lewandowski possibly coming and now officially coming to Chicago Fire. And kudos to Chicago Fire's front office. I mean, what an incredible job to get this guy to move to Chicago. Now, they do have a new state-of-the-art training facility. They've got a new stadium coming in a couple years. But apparently they really did a great job of making him feel like he was going to do well in Berhalter's system, which is very friendly for strikers. Lewandowski is going to score an incredible amount of goals. We see how Kuipers has been doing. And that's something that could be a possibility, right? 11 goals and 3 assists, right? Current, I believe, MLS Golden Boot leader, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check that. But that does start to raise questions about who is going to be the striker. And why do I say that? Because, guys, if we're bringing in Koke as a DP, we have to let a DP go. And I raised this on my social media accounts. He briefly had a story on his Instagram of a video that looked like him driving by a bunch of kids playing soccer in Africa, potentially Ivory Coast, saying something along the lines of where it all began. And so I know the team, starting as of Friday, was on a few days break, but is he really going to fly like 18 hours to Africa and then turn around the next day and fly right back. If he's got a visa issue, he could take care of that at the embassy in D.C. He doesn't have to fly all the way back to Ivory Coast. So he's got to go. You see a lot of buzz right now. Middlesbrough fans actually don't care how he's been performing in MLS. They want to see him back in Middlesbrough. Is there a potential loan deal or a deal to sell him back to Middlesbrough? We have to take the hit. We have to take the hit. We're not going to make our money back with this guy. We just have to move him out, do whatever it takes. And so if they're talking to Koke, that means they're moving somebody out. And Latte-Lot is the most likely to go. He's on like a $3.2 million salary, something like that. Okay, so it's not like to the extent of the $8 million salary of Miguel Almiron. So, if they are buying him out, that's going to be much less expensive than Miguel, who's on, he's got more time left on his contract and he's quite expensive. So whether they're selling him, loaning him, whatever they're doing, they got to move him out, right? So I think he's the next piece to go. That then brings a difficult decision. If you're going to bring in Kuipers, who's also a DP level signing, somebody else has to go. That's either Miranchuk, right? Alexi's got to go, or Miguel Almiron. And as I just said, I don't think Alexi's going anywhere. So does this team have the balls to suck it up and say, they screwed up? They screwed up big time, and they're going to find a way to convince Miguel Almiron to either move and take a lesser salary to another team, or are they just going to buy him out outright? I mean, that would be a tremendous amount of money, but it would show initiative. It would show that Calibro's coming in, applying pressure, saying, you know what? I don't care if this is a mistake. We have to fix it now. Let's bring in a DP level striker. Because if you're letting Latte-Lot go, all you have left is, Kemen Tagashi. And that's not going to cut it, obviously. We can't continue to rely on playing, Miranchuk as a number 9. I just don't see that happening. You're either going to have to bring in a TAM level, or a quality striker of some kind, or open up a DP slot and bring in the likes of a Kuipers. What else are you going to do? You don't have many choices. There's no cap space. There's no DP slots just hanging around. You have to make some seriously tough decisions, expensive ones. But again, going back to what Josh Blank said at the NWSL groundbreaking, money is of no issue, they said. Are they just talking out of their ass, or are they going to actually pony up the money and do what they have to do to fix the situation quickly and take advantage of the momentum coming off the World Cup? In the press conference, right, they're the ones that said that they have to take advantage of this World Cup. Are you seriously going to say that you're going to try to bring in new fans that are created during the World Cup, and they're going to go to an Atlanta United game or turn on an Atlanta United game, pay for the Apple subscription, turn it on, and see the garbage that's being put on the pitch right now, and they're going to become Atlanta United fans? Get out of here. If you want to take advantage of it, you're going to have to bring in some talent, a star name like a Koke that's going to bring buzz, maybe even another one like Kuipers, who's already a legitimate asset, scoring 11 goals and 3 assists in Major League Soccer. And even possibly a TAM winger, which I've talked about before. We need a winger, especially if you're going to move out Miguel Almiron. And now there's even rumors, granted from small accounts on Twitter, that are talking about interest from clubs in Turkey for Sabo Lobjanidze. So, is the club thinking, well, there's only so much time left on his contract before it expires at the end of the year. If someone's offering, 1 or 2 mil to pick him up on a transfer or whatever they're doing, I don't know if he's even worth that much, to be honest, but even some money to pay for him before he goes off on a free, do you take that opportunity and open up some even more cap space and try to get somebody on, because he's making like what, $700,000 or $800,000 a year. There has got to be somebody in that price range that is better than him. He's playing like a $200,000, $300,000 player right now. There has to be somebody that they could get for that kind of money that they're paying him that's better. So is that a possibility as well? Do we see, in order to open up even more cap space, because if you're talking about Diaz at 1.5, 1.8 million and another 500, 600,000 for Alonzo, whatever it is, are you also talking about having to move out potentially Gregerson or Mihai? Do they keep all of those? Now, I'm sure Tata would love to have that depth, but we know that Jacob or Jacob, however you want to pronounce it, can play center back. We know Edwards has played in different defensive positions before as a rotational piece. We still have Hernandez, not great. I I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. He has not been great at all. But that being said, we do have some depth there. So I don't know. Do we see Gregerson or Mihai go as well? I don't know. But it does look like, from the looks of it, that we could potentially be seeing the kinds of pieces come in that Tata may try again to get the team playing in that 5-3-2 tactical system again. Only this time, he's not going to be having to do it in the middle of a tournament, which was a complete disaster, as he admitted himself. So, a lot to be excited about, a lot to keep the mind going in terms of what pieces are going to come in and out here in the summer transfer window. I really like what I'm seeing. I hope there's more. I even saw a rumor from a small account about a left winger coming in, but I think that was more maybe agent trying to get exposure for his player kind of thing. I'm not even going to bring it up because it was from such a small account, so I'm not even going to put that into the universe because I don't think it'd be all that great of a signing. But we're seeing movement. That's the point. We're seeing mentions of a winger, of MLS teams, quote unquote, interested in Kuipers, of Koke. So very excited. I hope to see more. We'll see what happens in the next week. And if we do see some more momentum or some more transfer rumors, I'll hop on the mic and we'll talk about it some more. But thanks for listening and tuning in to Unrelegated. You can find us now on Twitter at UnrealATL. You can find me at the letter JW Riddle_ on Instagram and on Twitter. And you can also find me on Blue Sky at the letter JW Riddle. Come say hi, give us your feedback, give us a review on iTunes or Spotify, and thanks for listening.